Yeah, my name is Andrew Tate, four-time kickboxing world champion, multimillionaire and all-around nice guy. Was one time the most Googled man on the planet for basically saying that water is wet. I told the truth about the world. And for some reason, in a world of absolute insanity, that offended the very vocal minority of psychopaths which run the internet. And I was canceled, which is the largest weapon that they hold against people who try and shift the narrative and tell the truth. So they loaded up their gun. They attempted to destroy me. And just like every other time in my life, when someone has attempted to destroy me, I emerge victorious. Aikido. I believe in God, and God knows the truth of my heart. Me and him are on the same side. We're on the same mission, God and I. I'm his number one angel, one of his favorite soldiers.
God's favorite.
God's favorite. And when you're God's favorite, sometimes you have to fight the demons. You have to march through you have to go through the battle. That's what God wants of you, right? Yeah, absolutely. My belief system is very, very simple. It's based on results, right? It's based on competency. The things I believe and the way I view the world and the mindset I've adopted has been created to be the most effective version of a mindset which is going to allow me to perform. It's like the software you install within yourself. I've installed an operating system which allows me to perform at the absolute highest levels. It doesn't matter whether they're trying to cancel me. It doesn't matter whether people are trying to kill me. It doesn't matter when, even the cancellation, right? I don't give a shit about losing my social media, but when you start getting lied about in the media en masse and your family's being threatened and news reporters are calling your ex-girlfriends, offering them bribes to lie about you, and they're trying to get you in serious criminal trouble for things you haven't done, that's a huge level of stress. These people are genuinely fucking demonic. They're evil in what they do to people like me who are completely innocent. And the mindset I have to deal with all these things is a software I've installed that allows me to deal with huge amounts of pressure, because whether it's fighting or anything else, I've always had a very pressure-filled life. And that's why I think the way I think, because it allows me to perform the way I perform. And my performance is obviously doing me very, very well in life. So I would never adopt any other type of mindset. I think that how successful you are in life isn't usually linked to IQ. You can be stupid and successful. And it's certainly linked to energy levels. But one of the most important things that's going to determine how successful you are in life is how much stress you can adopt. The more stress you can adopt, the more problems you're solving. And I tell you now, 99% of the people watching this stream would collapse under 5% of the daily shit I deal with every single fucking day. You guys have been here. I'm either at the desk, at a meeting, running back and forth on the phone, dealing with millions and millions of dollars and bullshit that it never ends. And the more stress you can adopt, the more successful you're going to be. And I'm just that guy. And I've been that guy my whole life. I'm that guy that everyone who knows me, all my family, every woman I know, they all come to me with their problems. They throw their shit on top of my shit. I'm just a problem solver. It's just who I've always been. And if you want to be that person, you have to have a certain mindset. And that's what my mindset is. It's not even about, this is what's interesting. It's not even about truth. And I know that sounds crazy. It's not so much of me looking and going, what's true? It's more about me believing in what I need to believe to be as successful as possible. I'm cool under pressure because I've literally had people try and hurt me for a large period of my life. I still have people trying to hurt me today. And it's just the normal operating procedure. It is how it is. And yeah, without the actual threat of physical violence, when there's not someone in the room trying to kill me, it's very easy for me to just to calm down and say, cool, let's get the problem solved. So they wanted me to quit and be demotivated. And I'll make it clear now, I've been massively successful on my new platform, Rumble. But even if I had one subscriber, I would be posting just like before, podcasts just like before. I'm indefatigable. I do not give up. I do not get tired. I do not quit. That's what they want. That's what the enemy wants from me. They want to try and win a war of attrition. They want to wear me down and hope I quit and give up and go, oh, I'm not getting any traction now. I don't have YouTube. This is going to be hard, etc. I am not that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who keeps going. And if you're truly indefatigable in life, and perspicacious, that's my favorite saying, the one I say all the time, unmatched perspicacity coupled with sheer indefatigability makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor. It's absolutely and utterly true. If you pay attention to the things that are happening around you and you do not quit, you will be a dangerous opponent in any realm of human endeavor. It doesn't matter what you try and do. Cancel me, fucking cancel me again, do it again. It ain't going to change anything. I'm a man who lives true to God and says what he means and means what he says. And I know the things I say are good for society and good for the world. I didn't put a fucking magic spell on anybody. The reason people listen to me is because they like what I say and they know that I'm telling the truth. That's the reason I am here. And I'm going to continue to do that. And there's nothing anybody can fucking do about it. Because in every single battle, there has to be somebody who charges at the front and perhaps takes the most flack. And perhaps it's the most dangerous to charge in at the front. And that's what I'm doing. And everyone's like, why is Tate involved in this battle? Why is he taking so much shit? Tate has all this money. He could just go on a yacht with a bunch of bitches and run around with a bunch of cars and just have fun. I could do that. The reason I'm doing this is because I believe this war is coming to absolutely every single one of us. You have two choices as a man. You either realize the truth about reality and understand how the matrix is suppressing you and affecting your mind. You either wake up and you are now in battle against the matrix itself, or you accept the programming. When you accept the programming, the battle doesn't end because now you're in a battle against your own mind. If you believe the they want you to believe, you're unhappy, you're depressed, you're miserable. So you're either fighting against yourself inside of your own mind, living in some semi-depressed state, sitting on the internet talking complete bullshit in these liberal hate mobs, or you understand the truth about what's happening and you're in the war against the matrix. You can't escape this fight. Everybody watching this is in this fight. I'm in this fight. You're in this fight. We're all in this fight. Yeah. The war is here. When the battle turns up at your front fucking door, you can't just cower. Someone has to fight. So yeah, maybe I'm at the front, but I'm also in a unique position to handle that. One, because of the stress. Second, because of the finances. Third, because I'm hard to hurt. So I feel like it's my duty to God. I'm not going to sit here and tell people, listen, accept the bullshit they want you to believe, stay at home, semi-depressed, take your Adderall, be a little dork, and then the matrix is going to be happy with you, because there's no happiness in that. You can't avoid this battle. You're just going to end up in a battle with your own fucking head. You're going to have to fight. To all the men watching this, you are going to fight somebody at some point, either the matrix or your fucking self. Choose. I refuse to turn on myself. I'm not going to be the guy who turns on myself and makes an enemy out of my own fucking mind. No, sir. Me and every single thing inside of me is on the same team. And when the enemy appears, then it's on. If it's on, it's on. That's the game. And that's what the old emperors wanted. The emperors of today want the same thing. They want eunuchs. They want you to go to work and they want you to pay your taxes, but they don't want you to think for yourself or have any balls or have any true ambition or open your mind or resist slave mind programming. They don't want any of that. That's a decision every single individual needs to make. And I decided absolutely and utterly not to. And I know that I could disappear and just down a hole of hedonism. I could disappear into a black hole of degeneracy and not even fight this war. A lot of people don't understand that I don't need to be doing the shit I'm doing. I have a very, very good life and I'm taking genuine risks to do it. But I also understand that my unique positioning means that it would be disingenuous for me as an individual of honor and integrity to not stand up and fight when I know that I'm in a position to fight when most people can't. Most people can't say the shit I say because they're gonna lose their fucking jobs. Yep. I've just been canceled. I still have hundreds of millions of dollars. Now what? They can't hurt me on that level. So I feel like I have a genuine duty to do it. And the only alternative at my level of life is endless hedonism. That's the only alternative. And I think a lot of people, especially before they're successful, like the idea of an endless hedonistic life. And let me explain something to the world. Certain things are black holes. Money is a black hole to a degree. Numbers go forever. If you're going to say, I need money to be happy, it goes up forever. You're going to need a new number every day. You're never going to be happy. You need a higher purpose and a higher vision. And my purpose is to wake people up and make them feel good about themselves. I don't want the whole entire population of the West eunuched and cucked. I don't think that's beneficial for the world. So I'm trying to do the absolute opposite. This is what's so hypocritical about them, right? They talk about men's mental health and caring about how men feel and how men think. The fact that I have such a large following and you guys have such a large following shows that our mindset is really not that unique. There's a lot of people who agree with us. Yeah. There's a lot of people who agree with us, right?
Behind the scenes too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of people who agree with us, and that means that we deserve a voice. And if they truly cared about men's mental health, they'd be trying to propagate us out there in the world and saying, look, these guys have a point of view, and maybe people align with their point of view. And that's what they would do if they're genuinely fair and non-tyrannical, but they don't care about men's mental health. They don't give a shit about you. Men, you need to understand that you are the backbone of the slave force. You always have been. You're the men who are going to die in a war. You're the men who are going to build the roads, dig the trenches. Nobody gives a how you feel about it. You're the backbone of the slave force, and they don't give a shit about you doing anything other than using your time and using your energy and using your life force to advance their civilizations. But the second you have a point of view, you're not allowed to stand up and say it. No, shut the fuck up, go dig the trench again, then go home to your sexless wife and your kids who don't care about you. It's truly amazing where we talk about the differences between men and women, but one of the largest differences is the societal view of how a man and woman are. The society looks at men and just thinks of us as workhorses. That's what we are. We always have been. And we still are to this day. And the workhorse isn't allowed to talk. Chicks are allowed to talk. We talk about chicks' mental health all day long. Oh, poor women, poor women. Yeah, poor chicks. And I'm not saying that women don't face struggles, but I'm not a woman. I'm a man. So I can talk about the struggles that men face because those are the struggles that I've lived through. I know them. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the struggles of women. There's plenty of women who already do that. But a second a man stems up and says, no, this is how certain men feel. This is how you fix it. This is how you deal with it, because that's what I've been saying all along. I've been saying it's very difficult as life as a man. You don't get to just get, so you got to be a G. You got to get out there and you got to make yourself. You got to do it. It's not easy. It's very, very hard. I've been telling the truth about these things and they just want to shut me up. They want their eunuchs. They don't want people to strap their balls back on. I said at the beginning of this stream, I do not believe in things that take away power from me. I only believe in things that make me more powerful as an individual. Now, I cannot deny that feeling depressed is real because every single human on the planet sometimes feels depressed. Feeling depressed is real, but being a depressive or having depression is something else. I accept that if I do feel depressed or I do feel sad or I do feel negative, which is actually very rare for me, but if it does ever happen, I understand I'm human and it's an emotion I'm going through and it will pass. People who have depression believe that they have a disease that can't be fixed and can't be cured. You are handing your power away. You're giving your power to an outside source and you're saying that I have no control over this. It doesn't matter what situation you're in. You need to at least believe you have some degree of control. When I say depression isn't real, I'm not saying you don't feel depressed. I'm saying that you can fix it. It's not a disease that you caught from the sky. You can fix it by taking control of your own mind. Listen, I'll tell you right now, I don't know how to fly a plane. I don't know. But if I was in a plane and it was crashing and I was sitting in the pilot's chair, I would still hold on to the fucking gear stick or joystick or whatever it's called. I'd hold on to it and try and move. Even though I don't know what I'm doing, I'd try and get some control over the scenario. I'm not going to give up and put my hands in the air and crash into a mountain. I would try and do something. I'm not the guy who relinquishes all his control to outside forces. I believe I have a lot of control and power within myself. So when I speak to depressed people, and they sit there and say, no, you don't understand. I have depression, I have depression, I have depression. You are one, hypnotizing yourself to believe you have it. One. Yeah. Two, giving a bunch of power to this outside source instead of believing the power inside of yourself. And three, not just being realistic enough to know that I feel a certain way and I feel this way because of my life circumstances. And if I change my life circumstances, perhaps my mindset might change. And that's why I say depression isn't real. The worst things on the planet could happen to me. I refuse to be a depressed person. I may feel depressed for a day, or I may feel depressive for a few hours, but I will never be a depressed person. I'm not the guy who walks with his fucking head down. I'm the guy who walks with my shoulders back and my chin up high. That's who I am as an individual, and I absolutely not refuse to change. And I cannot catch depression. All these people out here saying that depression is a disease, I can't fucking catch it. I'm immune because I'm living life. They're trying to attack me with everything they can. I can't catch depression. It's never happened, never fucking will. And I stand by that. Another thing that's really important, I say this all the time, nearly every word that comes out of my mouth is self-hypnosis. Every word that comes out of my mouth is self-hypnosis. And it's the same for everybody watching this. Every single word you speak is self-hypnosis. Every single thing you say out of your own mouth is almost more important than the things you hear from other people.
Amen.
You can't be sitting there saying, I'm depressed. I got a generational curse. I'm unlucky, bro. You can't be saying these things because you're reaffirming them within your mind. I don't do that. And as many people are going to sit there and say, Tate, you're delusional, you're a narcissist. You go through the world saying you're super lucky and that you're bulletproof and you can do all these crazy things. It's impossible for you to be depressed. You're a narcissist. Perhaps. Look at my life and look at yours. So let's talk about it let's look at it in pure metrics. Who came from a worse scenario at the start? Who had a worse background? Me. Who's now more successful? Me. Who's happier? Me. Who smiles more? Me. Who sleeps easy at night? Me. What would I want to think like you? If thinking this way makes me a bad person, but I get fucking fantastic results from my entire life and everybody close to me gets fantastic results from knowing me and everybody close to me absolutely adores me, why would I want to adopt your thinking and be a sad fucking sack of shit sitting on the internet trying to cancel people like a dork? I don't want to be my enemies. There's not a single enemy I have that I'm remotely envious of in any regard. Every single one of them has a shit life and a shit existence. Mm-hmm. I already won. God's already punished them. God's already rewarded me. I know these things. I'm the luckiest man on the planet. You have to say these things and you have to truly believe them. Do you deserve to be happy? Genuinely, every single person watching this, go look in the mirror after this stream, go into the bathroom, look in the mirror. Do you deserve to be happy? Look yourself in the eye. The answer is probably fucking not. You don't deserve it. When you're hungry, it's your body telling you need to eat some food. That's fine. You react to that. When you're depressed, your body's telling you need to change your life. And if you're feeling that for long periods of time and then not changing your life, well, you don't deserve to be happy. You don't deserve it. Everything in life that is valuable must be earned. Peace of mind must be earned. Happiness must be earned. I'm happy because I earn it. I get to be top G. Of course, I'm fucking happy. I'm me. When I look at the lives of people who tell me they're depressed, I look at them and think, you know what? If I was you, I'd be fucking depressed. Facts. If I was you, I'd be depressed. So of course you're depressed because your life is but whose fault is that? That you have to take some personal responsibility for it. And what they'll do is they'll try and outsource it. Well, I had a bad start, or this happened to me, that happened to me. World ain't fair. Suck it up, buttercup. It happens to everybody. I could sit here and be an unsuccessful piece of shit, and I got 10 stories to tell you why I have excuses to do exactly that. And here I am, top G. So that's life. That's life. You have to get done. So yeah, if you live a depressive life, you're going to feel depressed. If you lived my life, you wouldn't feel depressed. So now you know what to fucking do. Now you're either going to get up and do it, or you're going to sit there and stay depressed. And that's why these people are so desperate to defend the idea that depression can't be solved. When you tell the world that depression can't be solved, what you're doing is absolving yourself from all responsibility. I no longer have to stand up and work hard and try and be something because it doesn't matter how hard I work because I'll be depressed anyway. They know that's a lie. They're just trying to they're being ignorant on purpose to avoid doing the hard work. That's all it really is. Happiness is the number one thing that must be earned. And I'll tell you that my happiness is based on very real world achievements. I couldn't be happy if I was broke. I couldn't be happy happy if I was obese. I couldn't be happy if I was lonely. I couldn't be happy if I wasn't respected. I couldn't be happy if I couldn't whoop a dude's ass. I couldn't be happy in those scenarios, so I made sure none of them scenarios came true. I have earned my happiness via hard work. It's the top of a mountain which I have climbed. I deserve it. I deserve to go to sleep with a smile on my fucking face and wake up, and every single guy who hasn't got it probably doesn't deserve it. The universe is very giving and very fair. People seem to think that the world is unfair, and those are all the same people who tell themselves they're unlucky. I actually believe the opposite. I believe the universe is a very giving place. I believe God is a very giving being, and that the world, all in all, generally balances out and is pretty fair. If you're the kind of person who deserves a good life and works their ass off and genuinely wants it and tries very hard, guess what you get 99% of the time? A good life. And if you're the kind of person who doesn't really deserve it, slacks 3 days a week, a little bit lazy, snakes his friends, talks behind people's back, blah, 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 guess what? Your life ain't all that good. The universe is pretty fair and pretty balanced. I've yet to meet somebody who gets up every day, does what they're supposed to do, works hard, goes to the gym, then goes to work, does their best, makes their money, looks after it, is sensible, doesn't blow it, etc., who then fails. I've never met anybody who fails when they do all the right things. The universe is a very fair and giving place, all in all. There are very few exceptions to that. So when I see somebody who doesn't have the success they want, especially when I see, let's say, a group of people who don't have the success they want, there's no way you're all exceptions to that rule. You may want something, but you certainly don't deserve it. And that's why you don't. When I talk about the Matrix, I'm talking about the systems which have been created by society, which are deliberately designed to enslave. In the movie, the Matrix were used for our body heat, but here in this Matrix, we're used for our efforts and our energies. And you're existing inside of a system which is deliberately rigged to make the rich richer and for the poor to stay poor. Yeah. And you can sit there and get upset about it. You can sit there and cry about it and say the system needs to change, which is what some people do, socialists, XYZ. But I think I know that's a waste of time, right? That's futile. The best thing to do is to understand the rules of the game and find a way to win. So yes, the game is rigged. Yes, the rich are always going to get richer. Yes, the poor are always going to struggle. And that's the way the game is set up. So you still need to find the best move on the chessboard. There's no point sitting there saying, I want to play a different game, because that's never going to happen. Because the people with the money are the people who have the control and they have the power. And why would they have the game set up any other way? Why would they change it? Right? Yeah. It's also the basic of economics. I think a lot of people don't understand the true basics of economics. And the basics of economics state that even giving money to the poor, that ends up back in the hands of the rich. There's no way to stop the rich getting richer. I've already explained this before, but I remember during COVID when they did the stimulus checks and they passed out all this free money to everyone, $1,000. In England, they gave a lot more money, but in America, everyone got like $1,400 each and everyone was happy about it, saying, oh, he's giving money to the poor. Yeah, but what do those poor people spend that money on? They either, well, Amazon stock tripled because they all went to Amazon. So Jeff Bezos got richer, right? But the fact is that there's less companies than there are people. All those $1,400 checks amongst all those people at the bottom ended up in the hands of a few companies, and the rich got richer, and you can't stop it. Doesn't matter if those people invested their money, doesn't matter if they bought stocks, doesn't matter if they bought crypto, doesn't matter if they bought a house, whatever. The people who have the assets and have the companies and have the control are always going to end up getting control of the currency, and they're always going to be richer. So that's kind of how it works. And it's getting worse and worse. It's have-nots and have-yachts. You have to be positioned to take advantage of opportunities. Yeah. It's like in chess, they say good moves come from good positions. It's true. You can't find a good move from a terrible position, right? If you're sitting at home with no money, it's hard to invest in Bitcoin at $1. Doesn't matter what it goes to, right? You got to be in a good position to take advantage of things. So you've always got to be in a position where you have a good network, you have good information, you have some kind of liquid money, you have the ability to survive without that money, you can take a risk. Like, it's hard to set yourself up. I'm in a position now where I'm in the NBA. I'm an NBA player. I can never go broke again. So it doesn't matter, right? Once you're in the NBA, I can throw $1 million at something. It doesn't matter if it works or not. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. And that's why it's so much easier. They always say the first million is the hardest, and they're completely right. I always knew that the Matrix existed, and I always knew that the traditional systems, I always knew. Okay. I just knew. Even when I was going to school and they're sitting there going, you're not going to get a good job if you don't get good grades, I was the one sitting there going, you're a liar, shut up. I just knew the teacher was lying. I knew school was bullshit. I knew college was bullshit. I knew university was a lie. I always knew it was a trick and a con. I didn't truly understand things to the level I understand them now, but I had an intrinsic understanding, and I think everybody does. If you're in a gas station and it's 3 a.m. and a Lambo pulls up and a guy gets out of it, you're thinking criminal, gangster. Yeah. You're not thinking, he has a uni degree. Because you're not going to think that. So when you see money, people don't even associate the money they see with university. But then they go, I want to make money, so I go to university. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So I think everybody knows that the system and the path they lay out for you is not a path that's going to lead to where you want to be. And I didn't know what the other path was, but that intrinsic distrust for the system and that distrust for the things they wanted me to do made me search for other avenues. And then I found them, right? And if you speak to the people who are richest, if you speak to the people you know, this is for everyone at home as well, if you speak to the people you know who have the most money and go up to them and say, hey, what made you rich? None of them say school. Do any of them say school made me rich? I got an A in GCSE. Like, who gives a shit? It's bullshit, right? So it's all indoctrination. So I knew it was indoctrination, and for that reason, I was always searching. And if you're searching, you're going to find.
Yeah.
So the problem is as well, it's difficult because the way that humans work and the way that we've evolved as a species is that we don't really learn lessons unless they're learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I believe that unless a lesson has taught the hard way, you're not going to learn it. You can have so many near misses and people won't learn their lesson. Bro, you must know a guy who goes out there, nearly crashes his car, doesn't slow his ass down till he wrecks it.
Yeah.
Like, this is how people are, right? So you need that pain for the lesson to sting enough to really genuinely go inside of your mind. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with driving a car or business. Truthfully, if you want to learn a lesson about business, you're going to have to suffer at some point, right? So we always say that most people are not successful with their first companies, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The truth is there's a lot of people who make a lot of money with their first company, but they just spunk it, act an idiot, and it all blows up in their face. And that's how you get the discipline on your fourth company that when you have 3 million in the bank, you just leave it there. You know, and don't be done with it. So you need to go through some pain. You need to experience some negative things. You need to have to a degree some trauma to really even learn any lessons. So yeah, business studies, you're right. The book, that's not going to teach you anything about business. You need to get out there on the streets. You need to make mistakes. You need to suffer. You need to have the tax man knocking at your door. You got to deal with all that stuff so that you make sure it doesn't happen again. I really think that humans are stupid enough to only learn the hard way. That's kind of how it works. The saying, if you know what you have, you ain't got much, that is completely true.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue how much money I have. When I was broke, I knew exactly how much money I had. I had 117 pounds in the NatWest, and that was it. I'm poor, rent's paid, I ain't got nothing else. When I was broke, I knew exactly how much I had. But now I'm at a point where it gets really difficult to truly measure how much money I have, because you have cash, okay, that's easy. I have some crypto, which is constantly fluctuating. And then you have assets, and the price of the assets is constantly fluctuating. And then I have companies and income streams, which need to be valued. And how do you value them, right? They can be an 8 times multiplier in some circumstances, and others they'll be a 10 times multiplier.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult for me to put a value on it. If you were to say to me, how much money do I have in the bank? But then even then, because I've got to be careful what I say on this podcast. But even then, once you have a healthy respect for money, once you get past a certain amount of money, you don't need it in the bank. Like there's no point in me having 50M liquid in the bank. Why? What am I going to buy? You know, you're like, as long as you have whatever you have in the bank to run around the world with, you have enough. So you try and put that money to use, right? You buy assets, XYZ. So it's really difficult. I mean, I have my online school, which we'll talk about later, Hustlers University.
Yep.
That's already been valued. That was valued at 300 million.
When did you start Hustlers University?
A year ago.
A year ago. Fuck.
Yeah. And that's valued at 300 million.
Yeah.
So, but then I ain't going to sell it. So, but then again, I had a valuation between 280 and 340. So again, how much money do I have? I don't know. I could, if I really wanted to, if I wanted to sit here and say I was worth 500 million, I could prove that. But you know what? This is another thing about money. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to complain. This is going to upset all the brokies at home. There's nothing to fucking buy. Like you buy 3 or 4 diamond watches, you buy a couple suits, you buy some cars. What else is there to buy? You end up just spunking it on bottle shows and $10,000 steaks. There's nothing to buy. You can go on a holiday and travel, blah, blah, blah. But if you're actually looking for physical items, things to own and buy, there ain't much to buy. Okay, you can buy property, but property is a funny one for me because I'm very anti-governmental as a person, and I think that property is one of the big tools the Matrix uses to enslave.
To keep you in the system.
Completely, man. You buy a $10 million house in whatever country, you don't want to piss off the government of that country.
Yeah, but saying
because you'll lose that house. There's a lot of people who talk about passive income, and we'll talk about passive income because I think that's the biggest scam on the planet. The idea of passive income in and of itself is a lie. Tell me how you're going to get it, because having tenants is not passive income. Ask anybody who has tenants. It's fucking headache, right?
Yeah.
If I have a house XYZ, I got to make sure it's looked after, not broken into, the electricity's on, it's cleaned. I got to get someone on the ground. My assistant's got to deal with it. Now it's just got to be something to deal with. And once I got a bunch of money, what I really wanted more than anything was freedom. There's a bunch of these real high-level crypto guys, you know, like the guys who invented Ethereum and all that, the autistic guys. They don't own anything. And I kind of get that. I'm at the point now where they have a backpack of their possessions, And if they want a house, they rent it. They want a Lambo, they rent it. If I need to go somewhere, rent. I don't own anything. I don't have any hassle. Nothing's in my name. No government can take anything from me. You know, you get to a point of wealth where you kind of start thinking, do I want to have all this crap now I got to deal with? Really, you want peace of mind. And I have enough troubles in my head. I don't need to be worried about my mansion in Santa Monica, which has been broken into. And I don't even go there. Do you know what I mean? It's just long. So that's that. And then also what I was saying earlier about property being a tool to the matrix. If you buy a $10 or $20 million property under a government, you can't piss that government off. You can't disagree with that government. You can't, if the tax authority of that government says you owe them money, you better pay it. Or you're gonna lose a house, right? Yeah. If they say you better take an injection in your arm for the good of society, you better take your vaccine. You better put your mask on. You can't even get a parking ticket, my G. Listen, if I'm in England right now, I don't own any assets in England, right? And I pull up in the DBS. Have you ever seen James Bond look for parking? Me neither. No, fuck no. He parks up and gets out. That's what I do. Park up, boom, get out. I don't look for parking. They put a ticket on the DBS. Let's say I decide not to pay that, right? What are they gonna do? I don't have any assets in the UK. They're going to make a bunch of letters, send it to a bailiff. Bailiff's going to drive around the UK. I don't even live here. Boom. It's over, right? If I had a 20 million pound house, eventually it's going to go, the 60 pound becomes 120, 120 becomes 240. Yeah, bailiff comes, $2,000, $3,000, boom, boom, boom. Gets to the point where they're going to take my 20 million pound house off me. Maybe it takes 3 years, but they will, over a parking ticket. So by buying that property, you're now giving you're giving the government a way to hurt you. You're giving them a leverage over you. And I'm at the point of wealth now. I have enough hidden money where I don't want any government to have any leverage over me. I want a government to say, Andrew, we don't like you. And me say, get safe. All right, I won't come then. Bye. Like, and that's the problem with property. Property is a tricky one. I know you can make money with it, but you have to understand that they'll use it against you, man. It's a leverage. So, and if you look at the real high levels of wealth, if you look at the billionaires and stuff, they're trying to do the same thing. They don't own anything. They have a share in a company which owns a shell company in the Cayman Islands, which owns this subsidiary of a company in Dubai, which owns a boat that they can use.
Yep.
It's that Aikido. It's the same thing. Get out of the matrix. That's what everyone's trying to do. Once you have a jet, you can time travel. So you're time traveling all the time. A shell company owns a subsidiary to a company which owns a jet, which I can borrow. I don't own anything. Hello, everyone on YouTube. I am broke. I'm a brokey. I don't own anything. You can't take nothing from me, HMRC. I don't have anything. I'm poor. The good old days. Yeah. Some of the best days of my life were brokey days. Bro.
You think, yeah?
Yeah, man, I miss the brokey days.
Why?
Because when you have limitations,
money makes it fun though.
Money does make life fun, but when you have limitations, you're better at living in the moment and you're better at appreciating things. So what happens is now at my point, right? No matter how much fun I'm having, it's always, even if it's only 1% in the back of my mind, that it could be more fun somewhere else. If I can go anywhere I want all the time with no limitations, I never have to turn up to a job. I don't have anything I have to do. I can go anywhere, right? And I got a plane waiting for me. If I'm in Marbella in the middle of a party, no matter how good that party is, how much fun I'm having, whatever girls I'm with, whatever, and my boy texts me from Mykonos saying it's going off in Mykonos. Part of me is thinking, should I just... I can get there by it's 3 a.m. now. I can be there before the club closes in Mykonos. And then it's hard to just live in the moment and be happy with what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because there's unlimited choices. Like the brokey days were good days, bro, man. Like I'd get McDonald's and you're laughing with your boys. Yeah. The brokey days are great. And I'm not complaining about being rich. Obviously, I worked hard for this and it's a fantastic life I live now. But I think without those brokey days, without those original days to compare it to, without that juxtaposition, then I don't think being rich would be fun at all. I think it's only fun because you can compare it to the days when you weren't rich. That's the only thing that makes it fun. The only thing that makes a $10,000 steak fun is that you can laugh saying how you never had 10 grand in your bank till you were 27 years old.
Yeah.
Like otherwise it's boring. Otherwise, okay, steak. And I think if you're born with too much money, that you'll never truly be happy. I think you need the brokey days. They're the best days. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And humans, we all work in regards to, it's even the way the human body works, right? If you're driving at 200 miles an hour, you don't feel it. You only feel the acceleration getting to 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So if you're born at 200 miles an hour, it doesn't feel fast. It doesn't feel fun. My life feels fun now because of all the acceleration to get here. And I can remember the times when I was stuck by the side of the motorway without a car.
Yeah.
So I have that juxtaposition. Without that, it's not even interesting. It's not even fun. So the brokey days, anyone who's out here who's broke, good. These will be the happiest days of your life once you made it. You just got to remember everything and sit around with your boys. I mean, maybe some people change with money. Maybe if you get new friends and things change, but I hang around with the exact same people I did when I was poor. I got the same friends. I live with the same people, the same guys, same jokes, nothing's changed for me. So for me, I'm just a broke guy with a bunch of money. That's all that's happened.
If you're inspired, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more stories of leaders changing the world. And as always, stay inspilligent and keep fighting for your dreams.